Fortnite just dropped their new update. Did they finally fix all the bugs in the game? Is the Crash Pad Jr. finally back in the game? We also might get to finally see who Mr. Savage's official duo is. I also want to recap the Eval Cup finals today. We have Pete and Pollo absolutely dominating as always, but we have a new duo in NA trying to take a claim for the top spot. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Let's kick off talking about what happened in the update, which is the reason why we have the Eval Cup before we talk about the Eval Cup. So first off, just to recap, some of the bugs we've had in the game for almost a month now. You can't sprint and edit at the same time. There is a double bind bug on controller where certain controller players just can't play the game basically because their binds don't work. And we have two separate crash pad bugs that have taken out the only real mobility in competitive right now. So let's go over what Epic fixed in this update. Yeah, they fixed absolutely nothing. Now, again, I don't want to be a hater, but like Fortnite, come on. I know it's post globals. I know there's no FNCS, but we're still running 6 cash prize tournaments a week. We got to get this fixed. Like, seriously, come on. Crash pads, I talked about it since the very start. The 2 bugs with crash pads, while not being great, aren't even that bad. If you double crash pad back to back, you take 4 damage. And if you fizzberry and the fizzberry runs out, you take 4 damage. Both of those are super avoidable, and I guarantee, I promise you, 99% of the competitive audience would rather Crash Pad Juniors just back in the game with these bugs and know not to do these things than play another week of especially solos without pretty much any mobility. Like, please, I don't think it should be this hard to fix the crash pads anyway, but I get it. Maybe there's something going on right now. I've talked about it on my streams. One of the head software developers has been away at the moment. He's been out of the office, which makes sense. Evan honestly carries this game, and my man deserves a holiday. Straight after globals, my man has been working insanely hard, and apparently he's even on holidays for Unreal Fest. So it's not even like he's actually on a vacation, but it feels like as soon as Evan goes away, the game just stops getting updated. These bugs are still in the game, and a lot of them are genuinely game breaking. So I'm really hoping next week we get a major update. What did seem to happen in this update was mostly just game files for the event that happens this weekend, the Daft Punk concert, and that's pretty much it. Literally nothing changed in the game from what I can see. So we are unfortunately going to have to go through another week with these bugs and no crash pads, but just please, next week's gotta be the week. There has been a few duo swaps over the last few days I haven't been able to cover in a video, so I want to cover them quickly now. On NA, we had the big one. We had Bugha dropping Craze to pick up Reet. Now, last time Bugha and Reet teamed up together, they didn't even actually play a single game together before Bugha dropped him. This time around, Bugha at least played a couple of scrim sessions with Reet, then decided to drop him for Muzz, but then Muzz decided to drop Bugha for Reet before they even played together. So it is now Muzz and Reet. They are now going the resistance space. Bugha then decided to queue up this week's Div Cups with Void. They didn't do too well. They played day 1, so they still have to wait and play day 2 together now, but it looks like Bugha didn't even want to wait till the second day of the Div Cup before dropping Void, and Bugha's now back with Aviv. It feels like Bugha always ends up back with like Aviv or Threats, or back in the day it was Avery and Jampa, but honestly, Bugha and Aviv is a solid duo. They made globals together. I'm not sure why this wasn't a duo from the get-go. I guess Aviv does play on quite high ping, which in Div Cup opens is pretty brutal. That's, you know, a lot of players are known for playing on higher ping where they won't do as well in the cash cups, but they do phenomenally well when it comes around to FNCS. Players like Queasy, for example, some seasons as well. It is a bit unfortunate, but Bugha and Aviv, I think, could be really solid, and Muzz and Reet, I'm excited for as well. Unfortunately, neither of these teams made the Eval Cup finals today, but again, it's an Eval Cup. As I've always said, the qualifying format is not too fantastic. We have quite a lot of solid teams miss out every single week. I'm not just making excuses for certain teams. It's clearly a format that isn't super consistent. The last bit of duo news, this is exciting for you Mr. Savage fans. Mr. Savage obviously releasing his icon skin. He's been doing a 72-hour stream straight, but he's been playing with a lot of fills. He played with Pink for a little bit. They're not going to be sticking together as a duo. Then he's been playing most of his tournaments with like Clix. He's been playing with Clix on EU on high ping. They made Eval Cup finals together, which is great, but this is very clearly not a real duo. A lot of Savage fans are asking, when is Mr. Savage going to pick up an actual duo? And it looks like he may have done so. Focus has now said publicly that if Mr. Savage wants to play with him, Focus will play with him, and Focus and Mr. Savage could be a phenomenal duo. Focus has been playing with a bunch of different people. He's been playing with some really good teammates like Vidil when Rezon wasn't free, but again, Focus hasn't been able to find an official proper duo as well. And I mean, I know Mr. Savage said from the start one of his main criteria for a duo was going to be someone he's played with in the past that he gets gets along well with, that he can vibe with and make content with. And now Focus doesn't fit that, but he could. Again, there's no reason why Mr. Savage and Focus couldn't get along. It's just they haven't really played together in the past, but Focus is phenomenally good. He's definitely one of, if not the best players right now that doesn't have an official duo, and I think as long as Mr. Savage gives him a try, the vibes are good. They could work really, really well together. All right, let's kick off talking about, yes, yet again, Peterbot and Poyo continuing their incredibly dominant run right now, but there is another duo trying to fight for the top spot on NA. We had Peterbot winning 2 out of the 4 games of the eval finals, getting an 8 elim first, an 8 elim fifth, a 9 elim first, and an 8 elim first. 2 wins and 2 fifth places, all with almost double-digit elims. They were playing incredible, but how could a team be trying to take the spotlight from them? Well, we actually had Acorn and Bolts place even better than that. They got an 8 elim 4th, a 7 elim win, a 6 elim 5th, and a 5 elim win. So yes, they did get a few less elims because, I mean, no one is fragging out like Pete and Poyo right now. But Pete and Poyo got 33 eliminations. Acorn and Bolts got 26, but they did have a slightly higher average placement of 2.75 compared to 3.00. Both these teams are playing phenomenal. Now, it's worth mentioning Acorn is still on 60 plus ping in Canada as well. So Acorn's only going to get any better. At the start of the season, Bolts was also back home visiting family, so he was on quite high ping as well. Bolts is now on 0, but once Acorn gets on a 0 as well, we should hopefully see this team level up even more. Pete and Poyo have definitely been stealing the spotlight since duos came back on NA. Everyone cares about them. Everyone's been following them. They've been putting up big performances. They have not crumbled under the pressure. And we've had Peterbot now streaming 10 days in a row on Twitch, something I never thought I'd see. So while Pete is live, that is obviously going to be where a lot of people are watching and focusing on Comp 4 right now. It's been very exciting to watch, and their vibes have been amazing. But Acorn and Bolts trying to make sure there is someone else to talk about on the NA region. Both these teams are dropping uncontested Mythic POIs right now. I mean, Pete and Poyo, as seems to always be the way with the eval cups, it's always kind of like a random team that's dropping on them. We had Rax from EU dropping on the first game. Then they had a few other players dropping on them throughout the tournament, but no one really putting up a good fight or actually looking like a threat to challenge the POI. Just kind of feels like it's the spot to drop when you have no idea what else to do and you don't really actually plan on winning or doing that well. Acorn and Bolts, meanwhile, obviously they're still going Rangers Ruin. They were contested by Booga Craze in the Div Cup finals when they did really well against them. I don't know whether that means now Booga is going to start contesting them again with Aviv, maybe try and go back for a round 2 and see if they can do better with a different duo. I'm not sure, but in this finals, both Bolts and Peterbot's teams were uncontested, and again, that's why they were looking so incredibly good. I don't think there's gonna be many people who want to contest Pete and Poyo right now, or Acorn and Bolts for that matter, because they put up a really, really good performance against Booga. But this is the kind of rivalry we need right now to not have Peterbot and Poyo just run away with the tournaments. I do want to give some shout outs to some of the other teams as well. Shadow and Tyler got a 3rd, 8th, and 7th with really consistent performances. We got Clicks and Higgs getting back-to-back seconds, getting a 4 elim and 9 elim second, unable to pick up a victory royale. Cold and Ritual got a 2 elim 4th and a 3 elim 7th as their 2 best games. So there are some teams doing quite consistently well when it comes to the finals, but Pete and Bolts do seem to be on that extra level of just playing really, really well right now. Looking at the stats for the NA finals, we have some interesting storylines developing. We have Cold getting the highest damage ratio on 2.33 and the second highest damage done to players at over 5,000, despite not really having anywhere near the performance that Peterbot and Poyo had. Ritual and Cold got a 3 elim 13th, a 2 elim 4th, a 5 elim 18th, and a 3 elim 7th. So despite not making as many endgames or making it as deep into the endgame, Cold still putting down some insane damage numbers, but didn't really get the elims to back it up. Then on damage, we have Peterbot at the very top, no surprise, on 6,400, backing that up with the top elims on 20, but a pretty, unexpected performance here from Acorn, coming in second on elims at 15 eliminations on 60 ping as the IGL. So really happy to see Acorn putting up crazy numbers here. We had Poyo in 3rd, so we had 1st and 3rd, unsurprisingly with the amount of elims that they got. Bolts in 4th place overall, and then Rapid rounding out the top 5 for elims. As far as damage, Clicks getting a very respectable top 3 overall, and also for those of you guys saying, oh, Clicks is just trading Surge, it's just all his damage is trading, well, he actually got 6th on the damage ratio at 1.86 as well. So Clicks is getting damage and not taking too much back in return. Then we had Bolts and Shadow to round out the top 5 before getting Acorn almost on top 5 for damage, as well as 2nd for elims. Taking a look over at EU on the finals, we had no double wins here. It was a lot more even across the board, but we do have one team that I think is pulling ahead right now on EU. We have Swizzy and Vanya getting a 10 elim win after getting a 10 elim second and a 3 elim second. So only getting one win, but only one place off getting potentially 3 wins. So Swizzy and Vanya looking very, very solid. It is worth mentioning they were going the Hive uncontested in this tournament as Tayson and Mustache were not playing. Now, there's been a few, comments circling around social media that Mustache might not be grinding right now. I know Tayson mentioned that Mustache was having PC issues, but now I've seen some comments of Mustache just not really seeming that locked in after globals. I don't know what this means for Tayson and Mustache, and I don't know if it means Swizzy and Vanya are going to start getting uncontested Hive more often, because if they do, it's looking really rough for the rest of the region. They are looking absolutely phenomenal out of this POI. We had Chino and Veno, another team that's trying to, take it to them and try and have a good run for this one as well. They got a 15 elimination victory out in the second game. Chino and Veno coming out in big force. Again, this team is a phenomenal fighting duo. Absolutely no surprise there. Chino, again, having to back up why he left Frodoxy behind after playing so incredibly well. It is worth mentioning Frodoxy and Pablo didn't make the finals of this Eval Cup. Really hoping they make the Div Cup finals this week. I actually got a chance to talk to Frodoxy about this. He said even if Chino wanted to come back and play with him, he will not be dropping Pablo unless Pablo decides he doesn't want to play with him. Frodoxy is staying loyal to Pablo. He thinks even though they have a bit of a shaky start, not a terrible start, again, it is Eval Cup opens. They're currently top 50 after day 1 of the Div 1 Cup opens as well. They're not playing phenomenal, but again, he thinks they do have plenty of potential. They've played well in the past in trios. No reason why it can't work in duos. Chino and Veno did also get a 7 elim fourth as well, so it wasn't just a one big pop-off, one game wonder. Then we had Fastroki and Bevies, who were probably, if not the most consistent team on the day behind Swizzy Vanya. They got an 8 elim win, 4 elim 6th, 3 elim 4th, and a 3 elim 12th, so very solid performance from them across the board. And then Wox and Pixie also bringing home an 8 elimination victory royale in game number 3. Looking at the stats from the EU finals, we had Fastroki coming out with a damage ratio of 2.58, showing again why this team was so consistent. That was definitely a very big factor, considering the fact that Fastroki was also second most on damage done at 5,300 and second most eliminations behind Swizzy. Again, you flip the next two, Swizzy getting the second best damage ratio, but then also getting the most eliminations and the most damage dealt. It is worth mentioning it was quite a solid drop down between Fastroki and Swizzy down to Veno in third place on the damage ratio. Swizzy and Fastroki very much on their own level there. Sato, again, Sato looking really, really solid this season, trying to hold it down for the French teams. We had last LAN with not a single French player. I mean, there's a good chance we're going to get another LAN in France in 2026, considering how good the turnout to the last LAN was. Hopefully, we can get a French player there. Mumsy also backing it up with the 4th most damage done, and Shark in number 5. Eliminations, like I already said, we had Swizzy and Fastroki in the first 2, and then we had Chino and Veno getting 3rd and 4th before Cringe rounding out the top 5. I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done before. I'm going to recommend, instead of watching one of my videos now that you've done, please go check out Reese Hub's story of Swizzy and his recap of globals. It is honestly a masterpiece. This is, in my opinion, the best piece of content ever put out on Fortnite YouTube. It might be one of the best videos this scene ever produces. Go watch it. You won't regret it.